Hey guys, welcome back to Black and Gold Breakdown. Today we're going to be previewing Southern Miss versus Jacksonville State. Southern Miss obviously coming off the very disappointing rivalry loss to Louisiana Tech, giving up 30 points in the first half and not being able to recover from that deficit. Okay?
Yeah, I mean, super disappointing game if you're a Southern Miss fan like we are. Big rival game, Conference USA team that I felt like you had the talent going in to beat them. However, you didn't get it done on the road, but on the bright side, you have another Conference USA team with Jacksonville State, a chance to redeem yourself at your home on your turf at the Rock.
And we're going to see another very run-heavy offense. Gavin Wimsatt, Rutgers and Kentucky transfer, dual-threat guy, 2 pass touchdowns, 4 rush touchdowns as well. Cam Cook, TCU transfer, great vision, patient runner. Going to be very interesting to see how Southern Miss navigates shutting down Wimsatt and Cam Cook on the ground. Not a very deep wide receiver room either. Brock Rechsteiner, the main man for the Gamecocks, 13 receptions, 191 yards, 2 touchdowns. Bigger guy, can play a tight end as well, could act as sort of a Eli Finley kind of character, as Louisiana Tech used him last week and did very well. Going to be interesting to see how they line up Rechsteiner too.
Yeah, Rechsteiner averaging 14.7 yards a catch. Southern Miss defense, as y'all know, been susceptible to the explosive plays all year. It'll be interesting if they can limit the big deep threat, which they'll be obviously trying to look for Rechsteiner deep, and can Southern Miss make sure that doesn't happen.
And I do like that matchup with, I believe Moten could be on him with the height, just in comparison to Ian Foster's shorter stature. Moten might match up a little better. It's going to be interesting to see Moten and Ian Foster on both sides there. I would say they match up pretty well against both of the Gamecocks' top 2 targets, and after that it's really, like I said, not too much going there. But it should be interesting to see how and if Southern Miss can shut down those receivers and force them to run, but also if they can stop that run as well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any sugarcoating the Jacksonville State's game plan coming in. They're going to run the ball. They've been running the ball all year, and they're very successful. Cam Cook comes in averaging 6.0 yards per carry, so he's going to be coming there looking, to hit the big play and continue to keep his average so high. The quarterback, like we mentioned, Big Tom Scrambler, also runs the ball a lot. Two-headed monster, if you will, just a little untraditional with the QB and the running back. I was thinking maybe Aheem Foster, not the cornerback, the safety actually. He may play more of like a spy role, I would think, to maybe stop this quarterback. I would definitely expect, a team just as run heavy like Louisiana Tech to, have a couple more guys in the box again this week.
I would say so, and I'd say it needs to be very patient with the linebacker play. You saw a couple guys, Chris Jones, Michael Montgomery, maybe on some miscommunications, rushing all in when one of them could have stayed back. Things like that, communication issues that need to be solved and worked on for this next weekend coming up to be more balanced, stopping that rushing game, but just being aware of how Wimsatt could attack you in the air or on the ground. Southern Miss moving into their offense is going to have to put a lot of pressure on the Jacksonville State defense, who ranks 103rd in the nation in total defense, giving up around 400 yards per game. So we've seen Braylon Braxton get 400 all-purpose yards on his own last weekend. So we know that offense can keep going. Jeffrey Pittman, Robert Briggs, 2 starting running backs, may be not available or limited availability. So Jalen Carter, Matt Jones going to have to both step up. It's going to be interesting to see how they do in the run game, as well as that receiver depth, how the Blake Anderson and Coach Huff go through that offense and try to put pressure on the Jacksonville State defense.
Yeah, this is not a great defense by any means. They kind of play a similar approach to Southern Miss, bend but don't break. But both offenses will be moving the ball down the field. I'll be curious to see how Southern Miss, their game plan, with the running backs being out and, potentially being out, and then the getting the tight ends involved. And, you have embarrassment of riches, it feels like, at wide receiver. All the guys seem to be playing really good right now.
So many passing targets. Micah Davis, Elijah Metcalf, Carl Chester, Braylon Brown, Caden Morris, and Kyron Heath. 2 great tight ends, can be great rotational pieces for if one of them maybe gets worn out or banged up. Maybe one of them comes right in, replaces them with that just about same skill level. So an abundance of riches, like you said. Great passing attack, really going to be a lot for Jacksonville State to handle. Should be interesting to see how they go about doing that with their defense. Young defense, inconsistent defense, dead last in the FBS in terms of defensive retention, returning only 19% of the defense from last year. So maybe still meshing together a little bit, trying to still build that chemistry and work together. But Southern Miss could be able to pick them apart if they start attacking from all over the field, using those running backs in the passing game as well, that depth at receiver and tight end.
Yeah.
Just could get all down the field.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you look at all the different statistics that I have pulled up in front of me. I mean, it is a bend and don't break style approach, like I mentioned before. They give up a lot of yards a game, 245 passing yards a game. They have a weak third down, allowing conversion percentage, allowing offenses to convert on third down 46.4% of the time, which is not good. That's ranks 120th in college football. But on the other hand, once team offenses get down in the red zone, they tend to stall out against this unit, only capitalizing and scoring in the red zone 66.7% of the time. So 1/3 of the time that they get in the red zone, they don't end up scoring, which is really good.
And we saw Southern Miss's maybe difficulties down in the red zone. You saw obviously the one drive, 4 plays inside the 5-yard line, couldn't get anything there. That's going to be a high point for Jacksonville State, trying to keep them out of the end zone. And inconsistencies is at kicker as well. You see Reed Harradine maybe seceding his playing time to Creighton Wilbanks, kicker out of Mandeville, Louisiana, can be probably taking more of the snaps at kicker. So interesting to see how the kicking game goes there and how Jacksonville State can put pressure and maybe force those field goals as well. Ranking highly in 4th down defense, so maybe forcing Braylon Braxton and the Southern Miss offense not to go for it as much, to rely more on that kicking game and get maybe some stops on that end.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely something, like you said, to look out for is can Southern Miss capitalize in the red zone, because it was their bugaboo last week, and it cost them the game, to be quite frank. And Jacksonville State is coming in really good with red zone defense. So I expect a high scoring game, a lot of yards, a lot of, I think the defenses will be, to be quite frank, struggling against both of these offenses. It'll be which defense can get down in the red zone and stop them, the offenses to field goals instead of touchdowns.
And I'd say turnovers is obviously a big aspect as well. Jacksonville State defense has 3 forced fumbles, 3 interceptions, and we've seen Southern Miss' ability to force those turnovers as well, especially down in the red zone. Appalachian State turnover in the red zone, as we saw early on in the game for Southern Miss, multiple times actually, with the Ian Foster 99-yard pick 6. But forcing those turnovers, not only in the red zone, but on the rest of the field, is going to be very important. It could be a turnover battle. It's going to be who can play the cleanest, maybe clean ball, holding on to it, will come out on top. But going with that, do you have any score predictions or anything?
It's such a hard game to predict. I mean, do you remember the score from last year? 44-7, I believe. They beat Southern Miss. This time they're here. Different group. A lot of these guys came through the transfer portal for the Southern Miss roster. Well, both teams actually, but I still believe Southern Miss probably has a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, especially coming off of that big loss. I expect this veteran group to bounce back. And so I think I'm going to take Southern Miss again in this game. It's a harder decision. I thought they were going to go handle business last weekend, but I think back at home, I really do expect them to pull out on this game, pull out ahead. And so I think it's going to be a little bit more of a high-scoring game. I'm going to go 34, maybe 34-27 Southern Miss. So covering the spread, and I think Southern Miss is favored in this game, so covering the spread. And, that's my prediction.
I do agree with that. I think it'll be a little higher scoring. Southern Miss favored by 3.5. Over-under is currently set at 54.5. I think it's going to go over by a good margin. I've got Southern Miss 37, Jacksonville State 31. I mean, both high-scoring offenses. We saw Southern Miss's maybe inconsistencies with stopping that offense last week, and another dual-threat quarterback could cause problems for Southern Miss on the defensive side. Southern Miss's offense as well has been known to showing up with Jacksonville State's difficulties on defense. Should be a pretty high-scoring game, so I've got Southern Miss to take it. And you got anything else?
I did not. Thank y'all so much for watching.
Alrighty, thank y'all so much. Until next time.